Hi, it's Chris Titley here. As part of the Sub 11 podcast series, I'm here with Gerard Dyson, MD of Spectur, sitting here on a gloomy, overcast day in Brisbane. Gerard, thank you so much for being in person, and welcome to Brizzy from your native Perth.
It's a pleasure to be here, Chris, and nice to look out over your grey and
Yes.
drab city.
Yes, the jumpers are on, middle of winter. Now, Spectur, let's talk about the listed company, ASX listed SP3, what they do, and a little bit about the background of the business.
Yeah, I mean, Spectur is a business that is about making communities safer, smarter, and more sustainable. And, how do we do that? Where do we do that? Well, we live in a world at the moment that's getting increasingly more dangerous, whether in reality or also in people's perception. Crime is growing. We're seeing more concern around the climate. We're seeing environmental issues going on, and all of that is, driving, more challenges for our community. And one of the challenges we also have is not enough people to solve some of those problems. And so what we do at Spectur is we've focused on a particular segment of that world, which is a world where you're not inside a building. So you haven't got access to power and you haven't got access to connectivity. And we've got a technology solution that, complements people, whether it's a lifeguard, whether it's a security guard, whether it's a ranger or any of those sorts of roles, is we can bring a technology solution that works with them to support security when a person can't be there, or to warn people to get out of the water when there's a shark nearby, or tell someone to stop doing illegal dumping at 5 o'clock in the morning in some random spot in the bush. And we do that all from a completely wireless, solar-powered, environmentally friendly platform.
Fantastic. And your involvement in the business, and how did you come across it? And let's talk about your role as MD.
Yeah, well, I've been with the business about 5 years, and it's been really exciting. When I first had a look at the business, I saw that inside it there were some really interesting and quite unique technological attributes that it had. The core platform and its ability to manage power and data really efficiently set it apart. Now, I don't want to be unkind, but there were a lot of other things that weren't right with the business in terms of didn't really have a clear strategic goal or organisational responsibilities or budgets or forecast. Like it was quite immature as an organisation, and I think it had stalled a little bit at that point, which is I think why I ended up coming and joining the business. But I saw the potential that was in it, and we've been on the journey the last 5 years of resetting the strategy of the organisation and refocusing it on making a real big difference to our communities.
Let's talk about that strategy in regards to, I suppose, maybe a little shift from smaller businesses to sort of enterprise grade and government style customers and large utility companies. Can you talk about how you fit in with those types of customers and how your technology, I suppose, is received from those?
Yeah, so we started out doing work with small builders in particular, doing security on construction sites. That's kind of where we cut our teeth a bit. But over time, what we saw was that market was going to become increasingly commoditised, and it's a relatively simple problem to solve, so it can be, in many cases, solved with a simpler solution. But what we did see was a large gap in much more institutional or enterprise-grade customers, and providing them with these sorts of solutions or more sophisticated versions of them at a level that was acceptable for them. And so that really set us off on a strategy on focusing on government and utilities as a core group, and then over time, by extension, to resellers who sell into that market as well. So we have direct to customer, and then we have a reseller channel that feeds into those customers as well. And that has really underpinned the development of our product and our technology, our go-to-market strategies, and I guess the growth of the business over the last few years.
Obviously, a lot of different use cases, and you touched on some of those verticals. I did catch a video on your Investor Hub page in regards to the surf life-saving use case. Can you talk about how you fit in, who's your customer there, and how that process works, to in effect, saving lives?
Yeah, I mean, we're so pleased. It's one of the things that I feel very proud of as being part of Spectur is the impact we make in our communities. So there's a number of surf life-saving bodies, coastal councils, local government, state government bodies that use our technology platform to help safety on the beaches. So it can be connectivity to a shark tagging system So when a shark is near a swimmer's beach, they can warn people to come out. It can be providing digital signboards to warn people of dangerous sea states or wear sunscreen. It can be providing situational awareness for lifesavers when they're not near that beach. They can see what's going on. We're counting the number of people on the beach so that they can see from time to time what the usage is and whether they need to change their patrols. And even now we're moving on to other things. We can do real-time wave analysis. We can do erosion measurement in real time to determine when beaches are being eroded or deposited. And we're talking to technology partners to do things like real-time rip detection, counting people in the water, swimmer in danger. So these are just the add-ons that we're able to grow on the back of these platforms going forward. So pretty exciting, saving lots of lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in regards to, I suppose, utility companies and telecommunication companies, how would they fit in?
Yeah, so that's, I guess, out of safety and warning, there's another vertical, which is our security, which is still probably the largest part of our business. And what we provide is primarily a trespass detection and deterrence platform. So the technology is able to identify when someone is where they shouldn't be at a certain time. And we use artificial intelligence and object identification and a lot of other analytics to make sure that we do that with some degree of confidence. And then the systems simultaneously talk to the person, warn them away, light them up, and then they send that data in real time to either a monitoring service and a guard to get called out, or to the customer if they want to take action themselves. So a lot of things happen all without a person being involved to deter people. 9 times out of 10, they will leave when they are told, you're being watched, you're not meant to be here, it's being recorded, they'll disappear. And if they don't, many of our customers use a guard service that gets called and they'll respond.
How do you go about acquiring or new customers and sort of letting the world know a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a lot harder than it might seem because a lot of the things that we do are unique, or in the sense that they're not common and customers don't look for it. So you have to let them know it's possible. If it's things like security on construction sites or vacant properties, solar-powered security, for example, people will search for it online. And you can find us, we rank fairly highly on organic and paid search algorithms. But if it's doing automated beach erosion, for example, people aren't searching for that. They're not. Or if it's, we want to build a system to help the Department of Fisheries manage their tagging of sharks and manage their fisheries program. Or I want to manage the parking at my university campus. To let people know how many bays are available and how many aren't.
At what time and what peaks.
By time and put a signboard up to let them know when they're empty. But I don't want to rip up the whole pavement to do that again because these are old parks. We have to go out and tell people about that story. And so we have an outbound sales team. We push things out through more generic platforms like LinkedIn. And, we talk to people like yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Let's talk about the balance sheet and sort of some fiscal management, I suppose. Over the last couple of years, we've seen early stage technology companies get sort of put the foot down but not worry about the bottom line. And we've seen sort of a bit of a re-rate of that over the last 12 to 24 months around the pathway to profitability. Can you talk about your journey in that I suppose, that investor demands now of profitability for early stage companies?
Yeah, I mean, we, I guess, for the first few years that I was with the business, I think we were very much focused on resetting the strategy and growing the business. But it wasn't long, really, before we realised that the nature of the capital market, the nature of us as a stock, was that we needed to demonstrate profitability sooner rather than later. We weren't going to be one of these companies that can just endlessly raise on a growing.
I don't think anyone.
Price. No, well, I don't, I mean that maybe that was once, but it's certainly not now.
Yep.
And so the last 24 months in particular, there's been a real focus on how do we become a profitable company. So we've only looked for profitable growth, not growth at any cost. And along the way, we've substantially reduced our operating cash burn. I think the last numbers we put out end of May was something like $600 and something thousand of operating cash burn in the 12-month period preceding that. And, we believe we've crossed the Rubicon, so to speak. We've put out market guidance for next year of positive EBITDA we've given a bit of a range and ongoing growth. So apart from a bit of a dip around COVID, and when I say a bit of a dip, COVID was really quite brutal, we have grown very strongly, and our sales results in particular this year have been record. We've had 56% growth in sales, and a lot of that is for lagging revenue. So we're expecting that hockey stick in revenue, and when you combine it with substantial improvements that we've made in the underlying technology that'll feed into margin, and a substantial work we've done in removing costs through productivity improvements and integrations, I think we're really well positioned for FY25.
And in regards to a recent capital raise, can you talk me through the decision on that, the rationale behind it, and the use of funds?
Yeah, so in, I think it was end of Q3, beginning of Q4, initially we did a small placement of $250,000, and that was to remove the final, piece of a debt facility that we had with EGP Capital. So we raised that money, we paid that off, so we have no more structural debt, and that debt was expiring at the end of this calendar year, and so we kind of wanted that to be gone from the balance sheet. The second thing we did is last year we did 2 acquisitions, one for a company called Three Crowns Technologies, and the other one was buying out our partner in New Zealand for Spectur New Zealand. And over the last 12 months, we've integrated those businesses, and we were able to realise the cost synergies. And that, plus some productivity improvements that we've seen with the organisation of our business, has meant that we were able to, reduce our headcount. And there's no nice euphemism for it. It's always painful, but we were able to take nearly 20% of our payroll out of our headcount, I should say, through those synergies. And that's about a $650,000 annualised reduction. And so that process we did, but with it came some pretty substantial restructuring costs, which again, avoiding the euphemism, is payouts, redundancy costs, people's long service leaves, all of those things. And so that had a pretty good cash impact. And then the balance of the money has been just some working capital, and there was some costs associated with it too. So
yeah, there you go. You did touch on the word AI before, and it's obviously we're in a podcast in 2024, and if we don't mention AI, then no one's listening. Obviously, it's it's the hot flavour of the month or the last 18 months or so. How is it affecting your business? I suppose is it a threat or is it an opportunity? And,
it's absolutely an enabler, Chris.
Yep.
AI is coming like a wave, and it's going into 2 buckets. One is very sophisticated, very exotic types of things which cost a fortune and they solve very complex problems, but they're sort of rifle shots. And then there's this huge bucket of commodity AI, object identification, parking application, counting, license plates. There's a whole bag of this stuff, and it's becoming progressively cheaper. There's so many people in the AI space. We've made a deliberate choice not to go into the AI space, but we are avid users of it and buyers of it and partners of it. So we have multiple AI companies that we use and bring into our platforms. And that's the thing about us, is we've decided to try and be everyone's best friend. So whether it's the AI company, we can be your partner, we're not a threat. Whether it's the OEM camera manufacturer, we can be your partner and not a threat. Whether it's a security company that wants to combine technology with their guard service, we're your partner and not a threat. And so we make it so that the AI from other parties is easily plugged in to our systems. And that enables us to get the very latest, most appropriate, cost-effective AI. Because again, as a small company, trying to keep up with what's going on in AI, that's, we're just, it may not be as exotic, but it works really well what we do.
Yeah, and that platform approach, do you think that some people out there, when they see your company, don't think of you as that? They think of you as maybe just a pure play security company, or that you provide cameras, etc. I mean, I suppose that messaging and educational awareness is important.
I mean, that's where we came from, and that was our story early on. So I absolutely get that. And people's attention spans, it's so hard to try and get them to do that story. But that's what the future of Spectur looks like. Yes, we went from being a product company to being a solutions company. Safety, security, warning, where you can't plug it in. We are moving to being a platform company. And that platform enables AI companies, it enables security companies, it enables sensing companies, camera OEMs. We provide the infrastructure. It could be almost like the Intel Inside or powered by Cisco, is that's a big part of where we're going to be going forward. And maybe the Spectur name won't be as visible in that as we end up perhaps white boxing even some of that, which we do now. But we believe that we've got a very good platform that can partner with all of the people in that ecosystem and quite uniquely partner in that space.
Gerard, one final question. You've been CEO for 5 years now. You've gone through the highs and lows of not just the share market and your company, etc., but also things like COVID, where you had to navigate through unprecedented times. Moving forward now, why are you excited to be CEO of Spectur?
Well, I think, as I mentioned before, we've crossed that Rubicon. We've had. I'm looking forward to a year where we make some money. I'm looking forward to, delivering on the commitments we made to our customers, to our shareholders, to our staff. From a valuation point of view, more specifically, I think it doesn't really matter which metric you use us on. We are, substantially undervalued on a lot of core metrics, and I think that's going to be very exciting and a great opportunity for those that are coming into the stock now.
Gerard, thanks so much for coming in and having a chat today, particularly being in Brisbane. It's nice to catch you and nice to meet you in person for the first time. Congratulations on what you've achieved so far with the Spectur story and looking forward to catching up again.
Cheers. Thank you, Chris.